Welcome to the Dubrink podcast. It has been a while. My name is Marcel Duits from Dubrink. I am Chief CBAM Officer. I'm here together with Jan-Joost de Brinker, CTO of Dubrink. And today we have a special guest all the way from the Netherlands because this is broadcasted actually from the Czech Republic, Richard Loomans. And I think actually it's best if you introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Richard Loomans, owner, founder of Seichin Consulting, and I'm an international trade consultant for more than 2 decades, supporting startups and other advisors within the field.
And you mentioned it already. You're from Netherlands, Czech Republic. We all three of us have international relations. We operate and work internationally. And the topic of today's webinar is the international dimension of CBAM.
Yes,
and the intercultural problems which sometimes arise here and there.
Yes,
because CBAM is not really a pleasant message which you send to factories if you ask for emission factors. Well, the factory sometimes doesn't even know what emission factors are.
Yes, that's definitely the cultural factor.
Yeah,
yes.
And today we're going to talk about how you can best approach that. What are the issues? And you're an expert in this field.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Dubrink podcast, where we explore the ins and outs of CBAM. Join us as we dive into the latest strategies and insights to help your business stay ahead. Let's get started. Carbon border, let's adjust.
Over dinner, we were having a discussion about the name of your company.
Yeah,
Seichin Consulting.
Seichin Consulting, yes.
And that you then told me, well, I asked you, what does that mean? And you said, well, Seichin Consulting, it basically represents the 10, or it means 10 of the things that go wrong typically in international trade.
Yeah.
Something along
10
those lines.
conflicts, 10 challenges within international trade. Yes.
And one of the ones that we would very much like to talk about today is intercultural
differences.
dimensions. Dimensions, differences.
Yeah.
That's to be discovered.
Yes.
Actually, today it's Friday.
Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, what? It's Friday then, it's Saturday, Sunday, what? It's Friday again, it's Saturday, Sunday.
It's Friday today. We had the International Association for CBAM training on 3003 for train the trainers.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, again, with CBAM, we see international relations as a very big topic because it's supply chain, it's outside of the EU.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start with just typically some of the challenges one of the first challenge that pops out to you in the world of CBAM when it comes to supplier communication and intercultural differences, and maybe we can unpack that.
The first thing that comes to mind is the language barrier. So although we all speak English, doesn't mean that we all have the same context of the words. So that you have the same understanding of the words.
And what would be like an example of something where people may misunderstand? Like, is it people ask questions? We were talking about questions earlier as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people are perhaps higher on the uncertainty avoidance and they want to ask a lot of questions to get the clarity ahead of time. Others may feel, like asking questions is the right thing to do, the respectful thing to do. Maybe we can discuss that and tell me some of your anecdotes about that.
Yeah, well, not everyone wants to speak up, indeed. So if someone wants to ask questions, but feel that, okay, am I allowed to? Am I speaking with the right person to this? Even if if you are a trainer, you're supposed to be the expert in things, right? When someone comes in and he wants to speak with them, then it's okay that there's a level of distance in this. They view you like here, and they see themselves like here. There's a disconnect, so they might not speak up. If there is a manager in the room, the boss, for example, something we saw also today during the training, that one is the one who speaks up. That one is the ones who ask the questions. We had in the training, we had a manager, or at least a boss, and an employee. And the one thing, one of the first things the employees say, well, don't ask me questions, or don't interview me, or please don't
Ask my boss.
ask my boss.
Yeah.
Because that's the level of so there's a difference in this, and when a hierarchy perspective, they're not on that same level. At least they view it as that, as such.
Yeah. Marcel, you did a lot of business in China in your past company.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize some of these?
Well, when I started business actually in China, I was quite young. I think I was 26. So what I was missing was seniority. And I on purpose didn't go to China, didn't visit my suppliers until I was 32. And the reason was because I was scared that if they would see me, they were like, is this kid running like a international lingerie brand? How is that possible? So I kind of avoided going to my suppliers just because of my age. And on the other hand, working online with them, at the time there was not really video chat or something, was actually working out pretty well. But once going to China, I remember I was there twice for that company. It was a massive experience by itself, just to understand much better how suppliers work there and how they are sometimes connected with each other and how purchasing works from their side. So when I think back of that, I should have actually taken the step much earlier to go to China and to visit the suppliers of the products which I was buying at the time. Yeah. Does it resonate to you?
Yes, but it does take time. You have to build trust with them.
Yeah.
Before you can actually do business there. And actually, they need to trust you. You have to show them that you are trustworthy.
Yeah.
You need to build a relationship. So it's not that you can go, okay, it's a quick, easy play, and you go in there and say, well, I have this to sell. I want to, or I want to buy this. And then I want to do business. And the first reaction they would have is then, okay, but who are you? What's your name?
Yeah. Yeah, and what I learned there is that if, especially with costs, that you can keep on negotiating, but at a certain moment, it really kills the quality of your product. So I always learned there that you have to, you shouldn't want to have maximum in negotiations. And actually, if you talk about trust, the fun fact is that the agents I had at the time, I'm still in contact with them. So there's no business relation. But when I mentioned, I think a year ago, like, wow, look at these drones. I remember Lindy actually sent me a drone, and there's no commercial relation at the time. And I think that's really cool. You don't see that often happening.
Well, that confirms then that you created, or at least you established a relationship in the sense that they start to trust you. Even if there is no business relationship, they still feel connected to you.
Yeah. What are your advices for entrepreneurs or for companies actually that want that do business with China, for example, with CBAM? Because what I saw last year is that a lot of EU companies just said like, okay, I need CBAM data, give it to me. You have to give it to me because I need it to report. And you could see that a lot of Chinese companies didn't like that for one reason or the other. If you would be in their shoes, what would you do differently?
First of all, take a translator with them.
You would go there actually. That's step one.
Yeah. Yes. I would definitely go there. Take a translator with me. Try to gain their trust. Not just start asking questions. I need to have this data. And also provide some more input on this. So okay, what do I actually need? And you need a translator on this because all the information is most likely needed, well, from your end in English. Their English is completely different. Different wording, different meaning of it. And there is also a trust issue when it comes to doing business there.
Yeah.
In the sense that when it comes to data, we in the West have kind of we have our differences with dealing with China when it comes to exchanging data. They have the same thing. So
they're often not allowed, right? There's government regulation in place.
Exactly. There's
strict commercial relationship.
Yeah, they're top-down decision making.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were hesitant to share data. I remember.
And they need to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
So they will ask all their managers below them, okay, what do you think about this, before they make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually makes sense because the companies I know that got the data first actually went there. and they explained why they need it.
Mhm.
And they really took time, almost the whole day, to just explain why are we doing this. And you could see that those were the ones that came back and they said like, well, it's not accurate, but at least they're going to cooperate with us and we have some data.
Yeah.
It makes sense, actually. Nice. And for Dubrink, we believe that we shouldn't be the ones contacting Chinese factories to get emissions for CBAM. That doesn't really work. We work with partners in China.
Mhm.
They speak the language. They can travel in the country. They can go for our clients to factories to get emission data or in next year to verify factories. I believe that's actually much more efficient. But is there anything you would add? What would you do differently?
Use local experts.
Local experts. So
Train them.
Yeah.
Get them on board.
Yeah. Interesting.
Help them.
I have a slightly different question. You mentioned maturity earlier, or seniority when you were younger.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are starting out in the world of CBAM on the consultancy side.
Mhm.
Think of, for example, Guillaume on our team, who is still relatively young despite his relatively vast experience. How would you imagine a consultant that is very, very knowledgeable because they know the material to essentially, present themselves in the world for the market to kind of start taking them serious as well? Is there potentially anything that comes to mind?
To present them, to brand themselves, basically.
Yeah, or just like how would you maybe?
That they view them.
I'm curious if there's anything that you if a junior consultant were to come to you and is like, I would very much like to become a meteor consultant in the near future. What is the type of career path that would lead to that type of role?
By try to get knowledge and share knowledge.
So purely almost brand building.
Well, brand building in a sense, then present yourself as a future expert, or and also be interested in others in getting that knowledge. So follow courses, follow webinars, but also share your thoughts about that and connect with people.
Yeah, and the language is also very important. What we see, because Guillaume, who works for Dubrink, he's very knowledgeable. He actually studied CBAM during his study time, and he's very good in picking up information.
Yeah.
But he's French, and we see that for him it's much easier to engage with French clients than it actually is for the non-French speaking consultants.
Because he understands the culture.
Yeah, and the language. Is it language or culture?
It's most likely the culture. Because you can speak French, but if you don't understand the French culture, of which French is part of.
Yeah, so it's not the language, just it's also the dance you do with the people. Yeah, and that builds trust.
Exactly.
Interesting.
I mean, we see that sometimes with Czech companies where the relationship is more about, the Dutch come to the table and, we shake hands and we walk away doing business together oftentimes. Yeah. Whereas maybe here in Czech Republic, it's more relationship based and we must discuss and meet a few times. But then, once you can prove that you can say what you think you can do, then, go ahead. Let's do business.
And that has to do with the high trust society you kind of have in the Netherlands, that you trust each other. Unless you someone, that the person screwed someone, and then you will actually never trust that person. Well, here in the Czech Republic, they come from a system that you could not trust your neighbor, kind of, right? Because you really had to watch out. So you really needed to check if that person you want to do business with, you want to get in contact with, that person really actually was trustable. And you still see that in the way how companies do business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now CBAM lands on your desk, and we suddenly, not just in China, of course, but we also have to, do this exercise in India, in Vietnam, where the cultures, although Asia could still differ vastly from one another. How can an importer prepare for something like that? Because I can also imagine that maybe the typical procurement team is very much, purchase price driven.
Yeah.
Initially, how could an importer or procurement team essentially prepare for these intercultural dimensions?
Well, first of all, study. Get to know the culture by visiting the country, follow courses about the cultural differences, and really have an understanding, because you can learn so much about it. You can try to communicate, but if you don't understand it, if you don't get some knowledge about it, but which is the same thing with CBAM itself, right? So if you have no understanding of it, how would you know what to ask, right? So, this is here the same. You need to have a better understanding on how it works there. So engage with a local team, get there, find a way to connect, and especially when importing it, because you're so much depending on their understanding of it.
Especially now, because we saw today, we looked at the default values, right? The default values per country.
Yes.
And the difference is massive, especially countries like Malaysia, which don't have their own default values. That means you have to use the 10 worst, the mean of the 10 worst. That's very problematic. So then you must build a good relationship that allows them to, proactively go and collect that data, because financially it might save you hundreds of euro per ton.
Yeah.
Do you think there is enough room for this intercultural dimension in the current system?
Yes, there is. But really, people should start recognizing it, that there is room and that it is a factor in this. Yeah.
How can you then learn to kind of do the right, to have the right attitude towards the person on the other side without, for example, Dutch people were way too blunt, way too upfront.
Yes.
I live now in the Czech Republic, and I see that I'm slowly changing. I was on vacation, and recently 2 Dutch people were behind me, and they were saying, "Hey, I'm from the Netherlands." "Yeah, I'm also from the Netherlands." "Where do you live?" "I live here." I live over there." "What do you do for work?" "Well, I do this, I do that." Like,
how much do you make?
Literally in 20 seconds, they are checking if they can do business with each other, because we have a port, we have Schiphol, we are used to sell stuff, and we are used to make connections. But that's not really the standard.
No.
And sometimes I'm not like, oh, that's very upfront. I think you call that in Dutch.
Yeah, and we make a lot of assumptions, right? So we think that, okay, how it works with us, it also works with others. So we go right into there and ask questions, and even share the life story, and then okay, by the way, I can do this for you. Maybe we can do business.
Yeah. So how to do that? What's the best approach? How would you do that?
I would take a step back, listen, approach in a different way. So I try to kind of establish a sort of relation in this, but by listening and stepping back. So not immediately go into it, okay, but listen, okay, what does that person do? What does that mean for them when they're doing business?
Mm-hmm.
What's their passion about it? And then use that part to actually look into, okay, maybe there's something for me in this as well. Maybe we can establish a relationship and a trust. And then when that is happening, then maybe we can get to the next step. It's like building a relationship. You also when you're just starting into a relationship, you also not, well, some people do, but move too quickly, right?
I think curiosity generally is like a very good trade.
Yeah,
I remember that, like, we started with the curiosity to the CBAM, like digging. What else is there to see? And I guess it translates to other things. I'm immediately thinking of a presentation or a seminar I saw of a guy called Andrew Grill, and he has a show called, or he gave a presentation about digitally curious, and he was trying to inspire people on be digitally curious, and that was for, I believe it was a conference of people host that have Congress centers or something like this. And it was very, very intriguing, because that's a more traditional industry, and inspiring people to be digitally curious was eye-opening. It was a very good presentation, and here we have culturally curious, I believe.
Yeah, you need to be genuine curious towards our others,
and then start investigating, asking questions.
Yes, and prepare, of course, on what you want to do and which direction to take and what strategy you want to go to do and going forward. But start with asking questions. Really be curious about the other.
So
not just
imagine you're walking at a trade show and you meet. You could meet someone from Japan, but also someone from Germany. Would your approach be the same towards both, or would you have a different approach? Because that then you actually start assuming, which you mentioned you usually don't like, right?
Yeah. My approach would be very much different.
I'm curious to know, of course.
So when I would meet a person from Germany,
Yeah.
I would really go about, in the sense that I have so many years experience, that I've studied this, I've worked with these companies, so just kind of establishing an identity, but also to show that I am an expert in my field.
Mm-hmm.
So credential driven.
When it comes to Japan. And then I will be showing more interest in their culture first, pay respect in that sense. Then try to ask questions and give them some information what I can potentially do for them, but without showing off a credential or anything.
Maybe this is a good time to actually ask the audience if you are a foreign language speaker, European language, and you would like to come work for us. We would very much be interested in, because now for the reasons you mentioned, because it is super important to today with the Portuguese attendee of the CBAM training.
Yes.
We were discussing very much the cultural differences, and that it is super important in Portugal to have someone like boots on the ground in Portuguese, because maybe the level of English is not high enough to grasp such complex topics, because that's another thing. But also the communication style, and then of course the Irish are like, well, he's Irish, I'm Irish. We trust each other from day one, because we hear the moment he opens his mouth, we hear that they're both Irish.
Yes.
Now going to these international relations, we have culture, we have language, we have communication styles. One of the things that is kind of a problem in CBAM is, of course, that the CBAM communication template, the official format to exchange emissions data, is all in English.
Yeah.
How could that be improved? Or do you have any thoughts on the matter?
Well, it could be improved then to make them available in multiple languages, or have an option to have it translated in multiple ways. So that there is a way that, we have it available in multiple languages.
So we actually need an AI translated communication template.
I mean, we could just use a platform at that point.
Yeah, our platform is in 27 languages actually.
But
it is. It's what we hear a lot, right? Like, I'm sending this to the factory. I can barely communicate with them, and then I send a communication template, which is in English. I have never seen a translated communication template.
No, but I do. I have seen in the cells that there is somehow like a master sheet which has all the labels.
Yeah.
So I think they initially kind of wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if it's like a resource thing or they're just too complicated to do it. But I do believe that there are. They kind of prepared it to be translated. But I have never seen a translated one. I've always
if you would
only
make
seen
it in
the English
Chinese
one.
or in another, then I can imagine it's much easier for the factories to at least understand what's coming to them.
They have the guidance documents, I believe, in every language.
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. But again, the guidance documents alone explain what field is representing what value. It doesn't tell you how do I collect it.
Yeah, no, that's true. And in customs, what are the main mistakes you see with respect to cultural misinterpretation or communication? Because you're a customs expert.
Yes.
You must have seen a lot of things going wrong in this area.
Yes.
There's no free advice, but maybe you could share a little bit your light on what you would do different if you would be a starting custom service provider.
Well, when it comes to working with different cultures, different languages, make sure you have people in your business who understand the language. Because, for example, when dealing with customs authorities in Germany, they want to have everything in German.
Mm-hmm.
So in the translation, they understand English, but they want to have it in German.
I remember that I was talking to them on the phone and they're like, okay, this is not the English hotline. I'm like, okay, dann gehen wir auf Deutsch weiter.
So they
have a simple question, right? It's about CBAM.
Yes.
It's literally the only number you have on file.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they want to have the right understanding. And it helps if you speak the language.
Yeah.
And also, some words in German have a different meaning than in English. So it would be good to have the right wording there.
Yeah, I understand.
And again, it all comes about understanding.
Approaching the end, is there anything what you still would like to share with the audience?
Yes, that when you need someone who can help, then someone who might help you make better decisions in this and interest rates, and you want to have someone who understands multiple cultures, then make sure that you have the right person, but also you can contact me.
Sounds good. Yeah. Any closing remarks?
Not really. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared for the closing remarks.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you would like to know more about Richard Loomans, go to
Seichin Consulting.
There you go.
.com.
And if you would like to know more about DoBrink, go to DoBrink.com. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the DoBrink podcast. Remember, with the right insights and strategies, CBAM can be your competitive advantage. Join us next time for more expert advice and solutions.